Imagine building a modern web app where users instantly see if their input is valid, without relying on bulky libraries or complex, repetitive code. Today, you'll discover how to achieve dynamic, real-time form validation using only vanilla JavaScript and the powerful proxy pattern. This approach lets you create forms that validate every keystroke, centralize your validation logic, and deliver a snappy, seamless user experience, all with zero external dependencies. By mastering this technique, you'll reduce your app's bundle size, gain total control over edge cases, and craft scalable solutions that are easy to maintain and extend, even as your forms grow in complexity. You'll learn not only the foundations of the Proxy API, but also how to architect robust validation systems, handle advanced scenarios like async checks or nested fields, and avoid common pitfalls. In a world where user trust and data integrity are paramount, understanding native, maintainable validation is essential. If you want to build faster, cleaner, and more reliable front-end apps, you're in the right place. Make sure to subscribe for more in-depth, actionable tutorials that keep you ahead with the latest best practices and empower you to create world-class web experiences. Imagine you're building a web form, a registration form for a new user. Traditionally, you might attach event listeners to each input, write if-else statements for every validation rule, and end up with repetitive, sprawling code. Now, consider an alternative: the proxy pattern in JavaScript. A proxy acts much like a security guard stationed at the entrance to your object. When anyone tries to modify a property, say updating the email or password, the proxy intercepts that action. It decides, based on custom logic, whether the change should go through, be modified, or even blocked. In the context of form validation, the proxy's set trap becomes a powerful checkpoint. When a user types into a field, the corresponding property on your form state object is about to change. The proxy steps in, runs your validation rules for that field, and then determines whether to update the error state and UI. This means you can centralize all validation logic in one place, rather than scattering it across multiple event handlers and DOM manipulations. The proxy pattern thus transforms form state into a reactive, self-validating entity. This approach is not just conceptually elegant, it drastically reduces boilerplate, enhances maintainability, and ensures that every change to form data passes through a consistent validation pipeline. It's like equipping your form with a smart, vigilant gatekeeper who enforces rules automatically, instantly reflecting validation feedback to the user and keeping your code base streamlined and robust. To grasp the true power of JavaScript's proxy for form validation, consider how it compares to other validation strategies, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. Native HTML5 validation, for example, offers built-in checks such as required fields and pattern matching. While quick to implement, this method is rigid. Customizing error messages, adding complex logic, or reacting to validation state in the UI is limited and often inconsistent across browsers. Third-party libraries like Formic or Yup provide a rich set of features and schema-based validation, but at the cost of increased bundle size and external dependencies. They abstract away the mechanics, sometimes making it harder to debug or to customize for edge cases. Manual event handlers, attaching input or change listeners to each field, give you full control but quickly become unwieldy as your form grows, leading to duplicated code and scattered state management. In contrast, the proxy pattern allows you to define fine-grained, field-specific validation rules in a single, centralized object. When a form field changes, the proxy intercepts the mutation, runs the relevant validators, updates error messages, and notifies the UI, all without the need for extra libraries or convoluted event wiring. This approach scales elegantly to complex forms, supports dynamic and conditional validation rules, and remains lightweight. It empowers you to build highly interactive, maintainable forms in pure vanilla JavaScript, offering the flexibility of manual control with the efficiency and clarity of a modern declarative pattern. This is the main JavaScript file implementing dynamic form validation using the proxy pattern in vanilla JavaScript. It imports validation rules, sets up the form state and error state, defines the proxy handler for validation, and connects form events to the proxy-powered state. It ensures that each field is validated on input, updates error messages in the DOM, and handles form submission with centralized, dependency-free logic. This file defines and exports the validation rules for each form field as an object. Each rule is an array of objects containing a validator function and a message for feedback. This separation allows easy testing, modularity, and reuse of validation logic. This is the main HTML file for the registration form UI. It includes fields for username, email, and password, with corresponding error spans for displaying validation feedback. The form disables native validation to allow full control via JavaScript and loads the main validation script as a module. This CSS file styles the registration form and error messages, providing a clean layout and clear visual feedback for validation errors. This file provides unit tests for the validation rules using a simple Node.js test runner. It checks both valid and invalid inputs for each field, ensuring rules work as intended without external test libraries. This is the package.json configuration for the project. It specifies the project metadata, start and test scripts, and the only dev dependency needed for running a static development server. The registration form appears, displaying input fields for username, email, password, confirm password, a bio text area, and an interests multi-select with error message areas next to each field. The page scrolls slowly to showcase the full form layout and its sections. The username field is focused. When AB is typed into the username field, an error message appears. Username must be at least 3 characters. This feedback is shown immediately next to the field, highlighting the live dynamic validation in action. The error message remains visible for a few seconds, demonstrating the system's responsiveness to invalid input. Next, the username is corrected to proxy user. As soon as the input meets the validation requirements, the error message disappears, and the state visualizer on the right updates to reflect the valid username value. This shows that the proxy-powered validation logic instantly recognizes the field's valid state and updates the UI accordingly. The email field is then focused. Typing "not an email" triggers a validation error. Email must be a valid email address. The error message appears next to the email input, providing immediate feedback. When aliceexample.com is entered, the error vanishes, confirming that the email now passes the validation rule. Attention shifts to the password field. Typing AB1, a password that is too short, brings up an error. Password must be at least 8 characters. Simultaneously, a password strength bar below the input indicates a weak password. The validation is live, triggered on each keystroke. The password visibility toggle button is clicked, revealing the password, and then clicked again to hide it, illustrating that user experience features work seamlessly with validation. A valid password, myproxy1, is entered next. The error message disappears, and the strength bar indicates strong security, reflecting the rules for length, uppercase letters, and numbers. The confirm password field is selected. Typing different triggers an error. Passwords do not match. This demonstrates cross-field validation managed by the proxy pattern. When the confirm password is changed to match, myproxy, the error is cleared, and the state visualizer updates to show both passwords aligned. The bio text area is focused. Entering a string that exceeds the 120-character maximum instantly causes an error message to appear, warning about the length limit. When the bio is shortened to "I love using proxy for validation," the error message disappears and the input is accepted. The interests multi-select field is then used. Selecting 4 options causes an error, as only up to 3 interests are permitted. The error message is shown next to the field, providing clear guidance. When the selection is reduced to 3 interests, the error is removed, and the UI reflects the valid state. Throughout these interactions, The live state and error visualizers on the right side of the page update in real time, showing the underlying state and validation status for each field. The mouse moves to highlight this area, and the page scrolls slightly to emphasize the dynamic updates. The form is then submitted. All fields are valid, so the form processes successfully, displaying a confirmation message and resetting the form fields and validation messages. The reset button is clicked, clearing all values and errors, restoring the form to its initial state. To demonstrate accessibility, the username field is tabbed to and filled with invalid input. The error message appears, and an area live region updates, ensuring that assistive technologies can announce the validation feedback. Finally, the page scrolls to the footer, where a link to the official MDN proxy documentation is hovered over, drawing attention to further resources for learning about the JavaScript proxy pattern. The demonstration concludes with the UI in a clean, ready state. By integrating the JavaScript proxy pattern into your vanilla front-end forms, you unlock dynamic validation that's lightweight, modular, and entirely under your control. No external libraries, no bloat, just pure JavaScript power. This approach not only sharpens your coding efficiency, but also equips your apps with immediate, tailored feedback and greater maintainability, making both small and enterprise-scale projects more robust. If you want to keep building practical skills that deliver immediate impact on your daily coding and career progression, make sure you subscribe. Every episode is packed with actionable, real-world strategies that give you a clear edge and get you building better apps faster. Stay tuned. Your next level in JavaScript mastery is just ahead.